Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. You search Locked On Sports Atlanta. As always, give us the follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. I'm at Mark Zinno, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Coming up here before the end of the show, are the Hawks in a fix or an overhaul mode? We'll discuss that coming up here before the end of the show. But we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and it did come to fruition late yesterday afternoon that Atlanta has been chosen as one of the 16 cities to host the World Cup 4 years from now when they arrive in North America. And it is a event that's going to take place across the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And I'll run down real quick the 16 cities, and these are all in alphabetical order in case you didn't see it all. But it's Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Guadalajara. Have you ever been to Guadalajara? Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Miami, Monterey, or obviously Mexico, New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco Bay Area, Seattle, Toronto, Vancouver, and that's it. So there you go. Now, this is great for the city of Atlanta. As I said, Atlanta is one of the best event cities in all of America. And it is one of the best event cities, not only for the weather, the people, the space, the sort of very greenness of this city. It's not a, concrete jungle like New York or Chicago in that sense. There's a lot of greenery to Atlanta. It's pretty to look at. And the space and the layout of all the suburbs, are fantastic, right? So Atlanta has a lot of benefits to it from that standpoint. Hence why they're going to get a Super Bowl on the regular. Hence why they've hosted Final Fours. Obviously, they had the Olympics, but that was 25 years ago. I'm not sure that the city's even remotely close to the same as it was 25 years ago. That said, Mercedes-Benz Stadium now is going to host a World Cup match. A lot of people have likened this to the reason Atlanta was chosen was because of it becoming a legitimate soccer city. Okay, I think Atlanta would have been chosen regardless. There are a lot of cities on this list that are not in America that are not legitimate soccer cities. When you think of San Francisco, do you think soccer? I don't. When you think of New York, do you think soccer? I don't. Um, I don't know that the legitimacy of the soccer city and the early success of Atlanta United has really, was a driving factor in it. It could be 100%. And I don't want to take anything away from Atlanta United, but the other part about Atlanta that is very attractive in all this is CNN, Turner, Warner Media. They're all right here, and they are a candidate for the World Cup's International Broadcast Center. Okay, well, yeah, that's a benefit. You can't have the broadcast center in a city where you're not playing games. It's not going to fly. And I guess maybe that's where the Olympics comes in from the standpoint of that because Atlanta hosts the Olympics, it has the ability to have the international broadcast, done. And I think that's really, really smart. But that has nothing to do with Atlanta being a good soccer city or anything else. It has to do with the viability of the city to be able to host the event and function with the event. And if you look at some of the other cities that were left out, there's a reason why they don't have, and Chicago, I think, was one of the cities that was part of it. There's a reason why Chicago wasn't chosen, um, and why Chicago doesn't get a Super Bowl, and why Chicago never gets a Final Four. They pick other cities around that because of their ability to host. And Chicago, congested wise, is not a city that is great at hosting. Hence why New York doesn't host. Now, New York gets this for two reasons. One, they're not playing it in Manhattan. They're playing it actually at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. So it's the ease and convenience of getting there and not having to go through Manhattan is a heck of a lot different. And that's a big part of it. But again, New York is not a huge soccer city. It's a pro sports town. And I get MLS as a pro sport, but it's just not where the focus is. MLS gets next to zero attention on New York sports pages, New York talk radio. It doesn't even register. So it's not about the viability of the soccer city or the city being a soccer fan base. It's more about the city's ability to host the event. Hence why, and technically I keep saying New York, but it's always been labeled as New York, New Jersey, just because it's a New York market, but yet the game is being played at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. So I am more promoting Atlanta than necessarily I am Atlanta as a soccer city. And the reason why we're in this spot and getting the World Cup, because again, I think this is an amazing event town. As I mentioned yesterday, they're going to have to change the artificial turf to grass, which begs the question, by the way, if you're going to put grass on it, why not just leave it there? But, you know, hey, they didn't ask me to run the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I know the football team would absolutely love it. The soccer team would absolutely love it too as well. Every athlete would rather play on grass than anything else. So, it's done really, really well. And oh, by the way, the Atlanta United soccer staff added one more thing here, which I thought was awesome. So at the end of each write-up on each city, they put the column together of all the cities, and at the end of each write-up, they put a fun fact on each city. And this is from Felipe Cardenas. It says, like any other global city, Atlanta has a number of tourist traps for international visitors. Take the world of Coca-Cola, for example. Atlanta is rich in culture and diversity. City's birthplace of civil rights. The icon Martin Luther King Jr. visitors can tour his birth home, as well as the Ebenezer Baptist Church, where MLK was a pastor until his assassination in 1968. And the final sentence is the best. One bit of advice, though. Don't ever say Hotlanta. Nobody says that. And he's right. And we know that, but people outside of Atlanta don't know that. And full disclosure, before I moved to Atlanta, I said Atlanta. And then I got here and people were like, yeah, don't say that. And so I stopped saying it. Why? Because I listen. That's why. The World Cup's going to be exciting, despite the fact that FIFA is a grotesque organization. Everyone's going to love the World Cup here. It's going to be a ton of fun. And it's going to make this city very vibrant for however many matches it hosts. And you're going to get a spotlight on Atlanta. It's going to be absolutely worth it. So it would be awesome if, Team USA got in the pool that played a game here. Like that would be, because I would love to go. Like that I would love to go to. I don't care about Uruguay versus Portugal. Like I'm not, whatever. Yeah, I don't even care if it's Germany and Brazil, but whatever. Team USA goes, yeah, I'm going to want to go to that game. And you should do. All right, coming up next, speaking of going to games, Hawks fans have been doing that in numbers over the last couple of years because they've been good. But how do they get better? That is coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Final segment coming up next. Stay with me.